So good morning everyone, and welcome to another week of Agent Matters. I'll catch up with representatives of travel agencies to find out how they're working through the crisis. I'm Abra Dunsby from TTG, and this week we're catching up with our panel of home workers and home working representatives who we first spoke to for Agent Matters 6 weeks ago. To find out a bit about the challenges that they continue to face, as well as discussing some of the progress made in the last few weeks. So joining me today is Richard Dixon, Director of Holidaysplease.
Hi everyone.
Owens from the Holiday Village Group.
Hiya.
And Travel Counsellor Katrina Smith.
Hi.
Morning. Thanks so much for joining me today. And for those of you watching live on Facebook, just a reminder to post any questions that you have in the comments tab, and we will answer them during the session. So first of all, just to sort of catch up with you and see how you're all doing. Katrina, how have the last few weeks been for you?
They've not been bad. I think we've settled into a new norm for the time being. Yeah, we're getting on top of it. Yeah, life is just continuing.
How are you doing, Martin? You said last time you were doing 14-hour days. Has that got any better?
Probably on about 13 now. I've taken a lunch break occasionally, but yeah, it's still just it's getting better. We've got more organisation now. We've got a bit of a hold on things. We know what people are doing. We've got a bit further along, rather than just 4 weeks. Cancellations a bit further, so we're up to July with certain tour operators. So it's got a little bit easier that way, but still doing a lot of hours. But then, as home workers, I think we all work lots of hours anyway in the normal times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how are you doing, Richard? Last time you were quite new to the working from home idea. Has it got any easier for you working from home?
Yeah, I think I've adjusted reasonably well, Abra. Thank you very much. I think that the biggest challenge is trying to work out exactly which day you're on. And apparently there was a bank holiday yesterday, although I didn't quite notice it. So yeah, I think overall, it feels a little bit more kind of normal. Personally, I'm still kind of missing the office team and missing the being in the office. But overall, I'd give myself maybe a 7.5 out of 10 for adjusting to this home working malarkey. Okay,
not too bad. Could be worse.
Could be.
And how are your home workers keeping?
I think overall they've done fantastically well. I think it would be true to say that every single one of them will have had periods in the last 6 weeks where they've been really up against it, either work load wise or kind of mentality wise, and then there'll be other periods through the last 6 weeks where they've had some real successes to celebrate, and so it's the roller coaster ride. I think that we're all on, whether we're work wise or kind of personal wise.
Okay, well, it's lovely to see you all again. So moving on to the enduring issue of securing refunds, has this situation got any better since we last caught up with you 6 weeks ago? Are you noticing more operators and airlines refunding than previously? Martin, should we start with you here?
There's a lot more coming out saying they are going to refund, but I think it's timescales now, and the volume that they've got. I mean, with what, six weeks since, 60 days plus. On some of them where they said you'll get it within 60 days and they're not through yet. So it's the good in what they're saying is some of them, but they're just not coming through quick enough. And we're now getting to the point where clients are now starting to ask. We are appeasing them as much as we can, and most people are understanding that it is taking longer. But if somebody says to me 60 days, I'm saying 90, just to give them a bit more space, and hopefully it'll come through. Airlines, I think some of them are starting to get there, but a lot are still not getting that money back down to the suppliers and then back to us. That tree is just not, it's stopped, and we need that to happen like sooner rather than later, because it's affecting every single part of our industry, right across the board: tour operators, travel agents, home workers.
Mm-hmm. Katrina, how about you? How's the situation been for you?
I think generally now we're getting used to how it is with the refunds. So I'm able to give my clients some sort of indication as to how long it's going to take. And I think that's the key, keeping in touch with your clients and saying, look, it's going to take so long, and explaining why it's going to take that amount of time. I think the weird thing is, normally I get excited and yay if I've got a sale. Now I'm excited if the refunds come through, which is kind of weird. And I'm able to tell my clients, say, yep, the refund's in, we will get it to you hopefully within the week or so. Generally there are some tour operators that aren't getting them through or not giving us the information. That's what we need. It's not so much about having the money in the account, although we want it. It's knowing what's happening. That to me is the most frustrating thing. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I don't like not knowing what's happening. So as long as we keep in touch with our clients, I think we're on top of it, and they're bearing with us, and they know they are going to get their refunds. It's just taken a bit more time, and hopefully where possible we've amended them to next year.
And how about you, Richard? What's the word on the ground from your home workers?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really hard, hasn't it, from a travel agent's perspective, and obviously home workers are generally speaking travel agents, to be delivering really difficult messages to their customers on a daily basis. And I know that many customers have been understanding. Sometimes they've been understanding for a few days, and then the patience wears off and they get a little bit crosser and a little bit crosser and a little bit crosser. And some customers have been completely non-understanding and appreciative of the situation from the word go. And I think that's been really, really tough for all travel agents, whether home workers or not. I think what Katrina said there about having a certain message, it has been one of the biggest challenges, because most of the time we haven't had a certain message. Most of the time we've had no idea what is going to happen. In the outset, I think I had some sympathy for suppliers as they tried to kind of get their houses in order and try and work out what was going on, and start to get a plan in place. And for a lot of suppliers, I have to say that their policies have kind of matured as the crisis has gone on, and those policies have become more and more appreciative of the situations that many of their customers find themselves in. Some of them will have been losing their jobs. They haven't got an income. They might be self-employed people who pay themselves dividends, so can't claim money. The £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 that they paid for their holiday, could put food on their table for the next kind of 2 or 3 months. And I don't think we should shy away from that fact. But I think more and more tour operators have given a better service as time has passed. I think the frustration that we feel on the front line is that from a lot of tour operators, we still don't have particular clarity on the time frames, and we don't get that. I mean, up to now, we've just said, oh, it's up to the tour operators. We've given guidelines, but now it's up to individual tour operators. It's ridiculous. It's frankly ridiculous. As the frontline home workers and travel agents, that's a terrible message to have to continually deliver to customers. And I think we could have done a lot better on that. Just as an example, we have some of our own product that we do where we act as the tour operator. We don't have credit facilities. We pay for everything up front because it's just a small kind of part of our business. But we've refunded every single customer so far that's wanted a refund. Over 80 bookings, nearly £500,000 worth of refunds that we've processed. We haven't got all that money back from suppliers, but we've got the majority of it back. So I know that a lot of these tour operators have got the money back, but they're still choosing not to refund, and I find that morally abhorrent.
Gosh, yeah. Richard, you mentioned there that the sort of time limit that you think operators should have to refund by. What do you think should be the sort of maximum amount of time that operators should be refunding by? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we want to be fair to the industry and recognise the challenges, and there are airlines in particular out there that are putting kind of, you know, 12-month kind of, you know, time frames on refunds, and I know the cruise companies like Martin has said, you know, have been particularly challenging some of them. I mean, I think 60 to 90 days, I think most of the public would accept that in the circumstances, but because there's a lack of certainty around it, it just causes more angst.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree, Katrina and Martin, on that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think if we've got a date in mind, if we know how long it's going to be, we can tell our clients, yes, it's going to be 60 days. The frustration is not being able to give them any indication other than, we will get it back, but we don't know when. It's very few that I have to say that to, I have to admit, but for those that I do, it's not good.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I mean, 60 to 90 days is giving everybody that space to get everything together and refund. But we've started partial refunds. So where we've got every certain elements back, we've started giving them back, or ringing up and saying, look, we've got this. Do you want this now? Or do you want to wait for it all to come back? And, you know, or we might give you a refund credit note. As soon as it comes back, we will then give it to you. We can't say it will be a week or 6 weeks, which is a bit awful for people. I think it should be coming back a lot sooner than, like, you know, I've seen some things going through for 2022 where you're going to get a refund if you haven't used it. And you can't do that to somebody. It's wrong. It is wrong. You know, it's unprecedented times, and everybody's got lots and lots of adjustments to make, hundreds of thousands of refunds, and it is going to take time. No system was built to actually do this amount of refunds in a short space of time, but 60 to 90 days, I agree, Richard, you know, 90 days at a maximum should be better than, you know, March 2021 or even further.
Mm-hmm. And now that summer balances are due, what is the customer sentiment generally? Is it getting trickier to have those conversations, or are the customers being pretty understanding? I guess it's probably a bit of a mixed bag, really. Katrina?
To be fairly honest, I haven't got a lot in that position, partly because my clientele probably only book about 3 to 4 months in advance anyway, so I am pretty lucky personally. I think it is tricky. I've got 1 or 2 where we can look and see if maybe we haven't got to pay the hotel just yet. We can keep it and wait to see if the airline is likely to cancel the flight. So it's looking at it individually. It's easier for us where we've actually packaged it ourselves under our own atoll. We can see exactly when full payments are required and where. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to be as accommodating as we can do with those clients that are in that situation, or trying to move them to next year if that's possible.
Yeah. How about you, Martin?
I think at the moment it is really hard for people. This quarantine that we all know hopefully won't be for long, but people are now saying, well, if I'm going on holiday in August for a week, I've got to quarantine for 2 weeks. I'm not willing to pay my balance. But I think what the industry needs to do is move the balance dates across the board to like 4 to 6 weeks, even if it's just a temporary for now. Because otherwise everybody is just saying, well, I'm not paying. I mean, a lot of ours, though, what we are doing is lifting and shifting people. And, you know, one of the cruise lines that came out this a couple of weeks ago with this policy has made it a lot easier, where they're guaranteeing prices for 2021, albeit taxes and gratuities are not included. But the majority, they're able to just lift and shift the holiday. That has been a great help. And I think, you know, if a lot of tour operators came out and said, well, tell you what, if you don't want to go this year, book next year, we'll move you now, and it will be, you know, next to nothing to change. I think we would get a lot of people moving, because, you know, people don't, at the moment for July and August, are really worried about going away and having to take time off. I mean, who can take 3 weeks off for a 1 week holiday? You know, it's really hard. But as I say, a lot of people are transferring to 2021 that we've found.
That's good. And so, Richard, what are your home workers calling for right now in terms of support from the government and ABTA?
I mean, I think the self-employed support for a good number of them that they've been able to get has been positive, and those that have been able to get that have been incredibly grateful for it. You know, as Katrina said, I mean, you know, there's you know, they're having to, you know, home workers, you know, have, like any businesses, you know, they've got money perhaps that they've got to pay back, whether it's kind of refunds to customers or whether it's kind of commissions that have been forward paid. So being able to have a little bit of, you know, cash flow to keep your head above water, whilst you've got not only, you know, no income coming in from new sales, but you've got kind of like, you know, income that's got to go back, if you like, to a head office. That's obviously challenging. There's the bounce back loans, which you know, some of the home workers will be able to, you know, take advantage of, which again is a positive. I think there's been some real challenges for some home workers that don't qualify for the government support that's come in, and that's created some challenges, I have to say, for people. But they've managed to kind of, you know, find ways through so far. With regards to ABTA, I mean, do you mean as in kind of financial support or kind of another type of support, Abra?
Well, yeah, I would say financial support largely, and also I guess with, as mentioned before, I suppose the timeframes, perhaps them putting some of those timeframes in place with the operators in terms of refunding.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, as far as, you know, actual financial support for home workers, I mean, ABTA, you know, do a fantastic job with their Lifeline charity, you know, for you know, and I know they helped an incredible amount of people, you know, after the Thomas Cook collapse. And I guess, you know, I'm sad to say that you know, we're far from the worst of it so far with regards to kind of the redundancies that are going to hit our industry, like every other industry. You know, we saw the sad demise of Shearings at the you know, on Friday, which was awful. 2,000 odd people, you know, losing their jobs. Good people as well, many of them. You know, and we're going to see the same again. So I think from that perspective, ABTA's always done a fine job, and I'm sure for, you know, many people who will possibly find themselves in particularly tough times, you know, over the next kind of, you know, 3 to 4 months or so, ABTA Lifeline will be incredibly supportive of them again. With regards to, you know, just to rewind and you know, tour operators and you know, you talk a little bit about kind of their policies. I actually think, you know, for the, you know, the balances coming up, for those kind of, you know, July and August departures, I think most tour operators have been really good in helping customers to move holidays, and that helps home workers to protect their income, so that's good. You know, I think the key to that has been being on the front foot with your customers, you know, speaking to customers before they're speaking with you, and that would be a key message going forward still. I mean, you know, we're going to have, you know, disruptions to departures, you know, obviously, you know, continuing through July into August, September time, and possibly beyond, depending on which countries are opening up. I mean, you know, if you look at South America at the moment and you know, the pandemic there, that's going to be really challenging for quite a long time, I think. So if you've got bookings, you know, into kind of, you know, South America, you know, that they're going to need moving probably, because it's not going to be safe to go. So again, I think you've just got to be on the front foot as a home worker and protect your business that way. As I say, I think most tour operators have been really supportive from that perspective.
Okay. And any support that you would call for, Martin or Katrina?
Let you go, Martin.
Thanks, Katrina. I think we need ABTA and ATOL to go out to consumers more, about, you know, and talk about what they're saying and what protection is there. Like the refund credit notes is a real big issue. You know, we've got people in the media that are saying they're not protected, and, you know, don't accept a voucher, don't accept this. We need them out there in the forefront of consumers. You know, ABTA is, you know, supposed to be a consumer brand. We tell people book with an ABTA and ATOL protected agent, but we haven't really seen them out there in the media. Where the travel industry is getting decimated, our reputation is actually being eaten away daily by all these programs, and there's hundreds of thousands of people sat at home watching daytime TV, and they're watching these programs, and, you know, there's so-called travel experts out there that are saying do this, do that, and then the phone's ringing. You know, everything you've done to try and protect your business or your bookings is ate away, and you know, well, we can't do that because they're telling you one thing, but this is how it is. So they need to get onto, you know, BBC, ITV, Loose Ladies, whoever it is, just get out there and be, you know, stand up for us as agents. The travel industry had a brilliant reputation. We don't want that to be eaten away any further than it has been. And, you know, they need to get out there more for us. And I put a plea out there now, please go on these programmes. Please speak to Piers Morgan, and whoever it is, speak with Simon Calder, you know, face to face, with 2 metre distancing. But, you know, get out there and support us as the industry, and support the consumers as well.
Anything to add there, Katrina?
I just remember when I first started in travel, which was 26 years ago, ABTA seemed to be more involved. It seemed to mean more. From a personal point of view, I'm not actually seeing the purpose of them during this. They don't seem to be doing a whole lot for us. And people pay a hell of a lot to become an ABTA member, so I don't think they're doing their members any favours whatsoever. That's my personal point of view. Looking at finances, I'm lucky. I've been self-employed for 16 years, so I was able to get the self-employed funding, and that was very quick and very, very easy. So that was great. But I've got to look at going forward. I don't think that I'm going to earn anything, certainly for the next 4 to 6 months. You know, it'd be great if I do, but I don't think I will. So I've got to look at that. So this week I'm going to be looking at the bounce back loan to get me through those 4 to 6 months, so that I'm really ready for things next year, and can move on with the business.
Martin, you mentioned that you weren't eligible for universal credits, unfortunately, but that you're applying for a loan. Is that correct?
Yeah, I applied for the HMRC grant that came out, but because I was only self-employed for 3 months of 18, 19, and the rest was PAYE, didn't qualify for that. My dog's just kicked off in the background because the postman's just knocked. But no, I didn't qualify for that. So me personally, I've sat there and and ahhed for quite a little while about what I'm going to do. I took a risk and took out quite a big loan to last me. I want to be here at the end of it. I love this industry. I love the job I do. I love my clients. I love looking after them day in, day out. But I took a big loan that will, if I didn't make a booking, I've got enough to pay my bills. It's not a lot. I won't be able to go out and have nice meals out or go on holiday, but I've got enough to be able to survive and weather it. If the industry collapses and things like that, I'm stuck. You know, so it's really hard, and I'm really sorry that if you can hear my dog in the background, I do apologise. But it's hard, but I've took that decision. I'm sure our industry, we're a very resilient industry. We will bounce back. We've got fabulous people in this industry who work hard day in, day out, and it will come back, but how long that's going to be, and I just hope I made the right decision.
And Richard, you mentioned last time the hardship fund. Have many of your home workers taken advantage of that? Do you know?
Yeah, I'll mention it in a minute. I mean, firstly, I think you know, massive respect to Martin, you know, for the decision he's made. I'm sure I've only got to know you on these calls, Martin, but I'm sure it'll be the right decision. You strike me as the kind of guy that will make it work for yourself. So, you know, good on you. As far as our hardship fund, Abra, yeah, we put it in place. We have had a couple of team members that have found it useful, and obviously, you know, it's open to any member of the Holidaysplease team that is, you know, having, you know, really, you know, particular, you know, financial challenges, short-term challenges, you know, as we work our way through this crisis. So it remains in place. I think because of the way we work with our team, you know, they're obviously, you know, they're not, you know, earning the kind of money that they would normally be expecting, and clearly, you know, with the kind of summer departures, you know, probably not going ahead in the numbers that we would anticipate, that's going to affect their earning. But the way that our model works means that, you know, when they're doing kind of new business, you know, they are, you know, seeing new income coming in, you know, pretty quickly, and we have been seeing, you know, new business come through for them. So, you know, it's a kind of balancing act. You know, they are, you know, facing up to the fact that they've got, you know, commission going back on, you know, those bookings that are cancelling. The good news is that they've been able to kind of rebook, you know, a decent number of those kind of no-fly affected bookings, and they've also got some new business coming through as well, which is giving them, you know, some actual income.
That's good news. Okay, just moving on to talk a bit about lockdown and travel restrictions, which are easing. We've heard today that Spain is doing away with its quarantine in July, and also Boris Johnson over the bank holiday weekend confirmed that non-essential high street retail operations can open on 15th of June, which would include high street travel agencies. Do you think as this lockdown continues to ease, you're going to get an increase in bookings, and have you actually seen a bit of an increase in inquiries and bookings in the last few weeks? Katrina, perhaps we can start with you here.
I've certainly seen an increase. We have had some bookings, and I know travel counsellors as a whole have seen an increase in bookings. People are particularly looking for winter sun. I'm getting a lot of inquiries for going away sort of January, February, March time. People feel then is a good time, that it'll probably, hopefully, things will have become a little bit more normal by then. The thing that's helped us the most is travel counsellors have brought in what we call our flexible promise, which for a number of holidays, if people want to amend up to 8 weeks before they travel, they can do. We can't do this for every holiday, particularly with the low-cost airlines, because we have to pay the low-cost airlines up front. But there's a lot of holidays out there that we can sort this for them. For whatever reason, if they want to amend, they can do up to 8 weeks before departure. And that has really helped us to start getting those bookings in for people that want to have something to look forward to. I think that's the main thing. They want to have something to look forward to, but they want assurances that their money is safe. So the flexible promise has helped us a huge amount.
Good. How about you, Martin? Are you noticing a steady increase in inquiries?
Yeah, a lot of the inquiries are for 2021, if I'm honest, although I've still got 15% of bookings that are due to go between now and September that we've spoken to, that you know, holding out hope that they will still go away. So I think it's a hard one. It's a lot of the bookings that we've got are 2021, the new bookings as well as rebookings. Everyone is just moving to 2021 thinking, I'm going to cut my losses, I'm not going to go away, so let's move it, and then if we get moving, then we'll come back to you and have a look at maybe a late deal, which it might be a late deal market if some holidays are going, which might be nice for a bit of a boom in a few weeks' time.
And Richard, how about your home workers?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, the easing of the lockdown, you know, generally, you know, and the fact that we're starting to kind of move out of, you know, what seems to be the worst of the crisis, you know, will give people confidence, and confidence, you know, tends to kind of get shared. One of my home workers said to me, once people see other people on the beach or other people in the bar, either on holiday, you know, abroad or in the UK, you know, they will, you know, they'll think, do you know what? I'm going to do that now. I think it's going to be fine. So once they see people doing something, they tend to follow. So I think, you know, we will see confidence kind of starting to grow, but clearly some people don't feel very confident at all, you know, with, you know, the whole coronavirus situation, and are, you know, very scared of it. And again, as an industry, we shouldn't ignore that, you know. So I think, you know, what Katrina's talking about there with having kind of product which is flexible and giving people, you know, assurance that their money is safe, and, you know, if they want it back at some point, you know, before a certain time, you know, close to departure, they can get it all back, and etc. etc. So I think as an industry, we need to be, you know, thinking imaginatively along those lines. But there is no doubt in my mind, and you know, and there hasn't been, you know, throughout this crisis, that there are, you know, the British holiday making public is resilient and love their holidays. And okay, they can't go right now, but as soon as they can go, they will look to go. And it might not be in massive numbers to start with, but it will kind of, you know, grow, I think, relatively quickly. And you know, we've seen, you know, decent number of new inquiries and, you know, new business coming in, you know, all the way through kind of, you know, April and May. And, you know, so that tells me that there is a confidence out there. It might not be every single person out there. And, you know, some people are obviously, you know, don't feel confident at all. And, you know, like I say, I don't think we should put that to one side, but I think there is a growing number of people that actually will be quite happy to be thinking about a holiday. You know, what we need to do as an industry, though, as I've just said, is you know, make it easy for them to book, make them feel comfortable, and I think they will commit and they will book.
I think the problem at the moment is people, that might be the flights are open, hotels might be open in Spain, Italy, but what's it going to look like? You know, are you going to be happy wearing a mask for a week on holiday? You know, are the bars open? Are the restaurants open? Nobody knows what it's like. And as you say, Richard, until we start to see those pictures and those videos, everybody's going to be apprehensive. Maybe they take us out on the first cruise or first flight, and we'll show them what it's like, and maybe that'll restart the industry. Maybe.
Exactly. The survivors' fam trips. Why not?
And are you noticing any trends in terms of where people are booking? You mentioned that it's largely 2021 that you're seeing those inquiries and bookings for. Have you noticed a rise in inquiries for domestic travel at all, or any particular destinations that seem to be doing better for you? Martin?
Mine, a lot of mine is cruise, so it is European cruise. Not seeing as much long haul cruise at the moment, but I think again, because you look at the likes of the US, you know, they're behind us, so people are not willing to commit to that yet. A lot of it is ex-UK department, so they don't have to go on flights and go through the airport. I've had a few inquiries for little bits of UK, but for me personally, not a lot. But the business as a whole, or the other homeworks, quite a few are seeing that. People wanting to go to like your Havens and places like that, you know, weekend breaks and things. I think that probably will be the start of bookings at the moment. I think, you know, as soon as it eases, it's like, let's just get away for a weekend. Let's go to London. Let's go to Blackpool, whatever that will be, just to chill out for a bit. You know, I think that's what a lot of people will do. But me personally, I haven't got a lot.
How about you, Katrina? Have you noticed any patterns at all?
For myself, I would say it's more the winter sun destinations at the moment. Cruise, I've uplifted a lot of people, moved them to next year. I haven't had new cruise inquiries at the moment. Again, a lot of my clients are just looking at where they think they might want to go for next year. And again, as I said, a lot of my clients only book 3 to 4 months beforehand. So they're not looking as such, they're just thinking about destinations. The UK, I haven't had a lot yet. Personally, I want to go in the UK because I want to see my son, because I haven't seen him since January the 4th, and he's in North Wales. So I'll be looking for a holiday in North Wales in the summer. But again, until lockdown is lifted, we don't know where we can travel. Wales doesn't want me at the moment, so.
How about you, Richard? What are the reports from your home workers? Are there any trends that you're noticing?
For sure. I mean, you know, we're obviously a long haul specialist of those kind of destinations that we would, you know, and normally book, that we're seeing bookings for now. It's certainly Indian Ocean has been really strong. The Caribbean, which has not been particularly, you know, COVID affected. You know, some of the Far East looks good, like Vietnam, which has managed the crisis really well. I'm expecting that to be really popular. But certainly, you know, for us, it's all been about kind of, you know, the beach, the escapism, you know, that type of holiday theme, a little bit. With regards to kind of the short haul stuff, it's quite interesting, really. I mean, you know, we're still seeing, you know, that Spain, despite the fact that Spain was, you know, hit particularly badly by the, you know, the virus, you know, Spain still seems to be pretty popular with people booking and rebooking to go there. And I think Greece is coming out of this with flying colours, you know, and you know, it is really going to be a destination that people are going to be very keen to go to, because obviously, again, you know, they seem to have handled the crisis really well, and you know, their market seems to be really appealing to short haul customers and family customers.
And in terms of social media, I remember last time we checked in with you, Katrina and Martin, that you were saying that you weren't posting offers. You were checking in with clients and stuff on social media, but not so much offers. Has that changed at all? What's your kind of social media strategy now, and have you had any success recently on there?
I'm still not putting offers as such on. I'm writing more about destinations. I've actually asked people that follow my page what destinations they would like me to feature. A couple have meant me having to do a bit of training. So that seems to be working, and really people are getting quite engaged with that side of things. I've also put some videos on explaining the refund process and the difference between how we would like it to be and what it is in reality, and that has gone down very well with my clients. So no specific offers still, destinations, and talking about the different areas that are opening up, especially places like Mauritius. I think they've been COVID free for about 2-3 weeks now, and talking about that sort of thing to get people engaged and maybe thinking of them as new destinations.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Martin? Is that a similar strategy to you?
I've actually started posting offers, and people have started really looking at it. A couple of inquiries, not the volume that we normally get, but it has sort of worked where people are looking and going, oh, actually, I quite fancy that cruise, or quite fancy that holiday. For me, my business predominantly being focused on cruise. In the last few weeks, I've been moving towards a bit more land-based that I used to do many years ago when I was on the old teletext days. So sort of diversifying a bit and putting a bit more out there on other things as well. But yeah, it's predominantly 2021. I don't want to create more work for myself and the business by promoting 2020 when we don't know what it's going to look like and what's going to go. So definitely 2021. People are out there looking at 2021 at the moment because they're like, I need a holiday, I need to get in there, prices are going to increase. We don't know what capacity is going to be like. You know, if we're social distancing on planes, you know, then, you know, a third of the plane's gone, you know, so prices may increase. So we're pushing the fact, book now, get the prices while you can, and get a deal really while it's out there before the price increase and go up, or the availability is not there. Because let's be honest, everybody from 2020 wants to go, and then you have everybody in 2021 that would normally go. We can't fit everybody on a plane and a cruise ship, so it's about putting that into people's minds, I think, and, you know, getting those forward bookings.
Yeah. And Richard, what's the messaging been at Holidaysplease?
Yeah, I mean, you know, from our central marketing, again, it's been very kind of, you know, soft touch, and we've started to kind of, you know, put more product out there alongside kind of just the normal kind of, you know, touch base type messages and information messages. Individually, the home workers have been, you know, perhaps a little bit more, you know, gung-ho with the offers that they've been putting out. And I think a few of them started to kind of, you know, tentatively, you know, put some offers out in the early part of April. And we've seen some really good successes from it. You know, people that have, you know, put all kinds of different offers, whether it's you know, the offers which are kind of, you know, short haul orientated. I think the point that Martin's just made about, look, guys, you know, I know it seems like a bit of a strange thing to be thinking about right now, but, you know, you need to get your holiday for next year booked because the availability is going to be tight and the prices are going to go up. And I think that has motivated some people to take action. And then we've been seeing, you know, an increasing number of long haul deals, you know, get good positive responses. You know, there was some offers that came through, you know, from Q only last week. I think they got their Wednesday Wow offers back up and running, and a couple of home workers posted those. And, you know, there was business coming through, you know, within hours from that. So, you know, there is business out there. I'm not saying it's at, you know, normal levels, but I think if you are able and confident enough to put it out there, and your workload allows it, because as Martin says, there's still an awful lot of kind of rebooking, managing refunds, etc., from an agent's perspective, and I think that has to be a key priority from a customer service perspective. But if you've got the time and you feel comfortable and confident with it, you know, I think there's no reason that you shouldn't be on the front foot a little bit more now.
I think what we could really do with is the airlines extending the timescales at the moment, because if you want to rebook someone for next summer, we can't do it because the airlines haven't released the dates or the prices yet. So that would really help everybody if we had the airlines putting out for next summer's releases, so that we can actually get those bookings confirmed up. I think EasyJet are releasing some more next week, but we do need the likes of BA, Virgin, everybody else to come up with their dates and their pricing, so that we can really get on this for next year.
Great point.
I think one thing that's come out of this, that the airlines need to move their technology along, because 11 months in advance is not long enough now. It really isn't. So they should get together and get a better system in place so that we can support them more.
Yeah, I've got a number of people sat here on my a list of people that would like to book for next year, but I can't do anything with them yet because the flights aren't out.
Okay. We've had a question here. We've had lots of great comments as well, but one question that's come through from Jake Goodenough is, do you think ABTA has been better at representing tour operators as opposed to travel agents during this crisis?
Who wants that hot potato?
Who wants to answer that one?
I'll take it.
Go on, Richard.
I'm sure the other guys will have a few. Yeah, the Association of British Travel Agents, and I don't think that's worked in the travel agents' favour in any shape or form, because it's the reputation of travel agents that seems to have taken a bit of bashing, in the public eye. I mean, even on the government message, I think, talking about the CMA investigation last week into package holidays, they talked about investigating travel agents. And it's not travel agents that haven't been refunding their customers, it's tour operators and airlines. So I think, the fact that our trade association, uses only the words travel agents has not worked, in an agent's favours. I mean, in fairness to ABTA, they use the word travel companies in most of their kind of communications, but in the public's eye, they just see it as travel agents. I think that's been really disappointing, we've put some new product into the marketplace just today, and we were doing the graphics for it last week, and I took the ABTA sign off it. I thought at the moment, it's not going to help me produce new business. I think the reassurance of what Holidaysplease stands for, is more relevant to our existing and possibly new customers than the slightly tarnished image of ABTA right now. I think they've represented the tour operator position very well, but not the travel agent position.
Yeah, there is that confusion out there. Travel agents, tour operators, even the big consumer magazine, which wouldn't say this is a travel agent, that's a tour operator, which is a really sad thing, because that's confusing the consumers out there. So again, going back to our reputation, it's being ruined, really.
Okay, and obviously it's a tough time for the industry right now. Has it been tricky to keep morale up, or how have you been keeping morale up? Katrina, how is travel counsellors doing that generally?
I would say they're doing fantastically, to be honest. Our CEO talks to us every week, Steve Byrne. It's very uplifting. If you're having a bad day, I do feel really good after listening to Steve. He's also doing what we call our head-to-head interviews, where he actually talks to different people out there. He was talking to Sherry Blair this week. We've been speaking to Vernon Kay, who always does our conference for us. And then I would say all the members on the board are great at keeping in contact with us. And then different travel counsellors, there's different travel counsellor Facebook pages that we all follow. So no, it has been really good. I mean, I miss things like going on ship visits, I miss supplier events, but this is what we've got at the moment, and yeah, we're doing great on it.
Richard, how about you? How are you helping keep morale up at Holidaysplease?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's challenging. We have been able to do some positive stuff. We had we always have a kind of first Friday of the month get together with different departments at HQ, and this time, you know, the first Friday of kind of May, we got the whole homeworking team together with a call with Charles and I, where we kind of talked about where we were with the business and gave them an update of what we've been doing, and obviously, you know, so they got a full picture. We were very open with them about, you know, where we were as a business and how we were dealing with the crisis. We obviously, you know, as Katrina said, look to support the guys on a daily basis from an HQ perspective. We had a nice little video from Dame Kelly Holmes, who was at our conference last year, who gave gave a little kind of chat to the home workers, which was fantastic. And there's the stuff that we're able to kind of do to keep them kind of, you know, feeling good and feeling positive. I think it has been challenging though, if I'm totally honest. You know, we are normally a very proactive management team with regards to the support that we give our home workers, sometimes annoyingly so, I think. And they probably prefer us to leave them alone sometimes. But, you know, we always like to be in touch proactively, whereas I think because we've obviously had to, you know, reduce our costs a little bit at HQ, you know, by taking advantage of the furlough scheme through May and June, you know, and we've had to reduce our sales leadership team a little bit, and that's meant that we've been, you know, less supportive than we would normally be. But I think most of our home workers have totally understood why, you know, that is important for us to do as a business. And, you know, they've kind of been, like Katrina said, very supportive of each other as well, which has been fantastic. We have a chat facility on our intranet, and that's been as active as it's ever been, you know, with the guys helping each other out all the time. And that's been, you know, so the community, the Holidaysplease home working community, has been incredibly supportive to each other. It's been great to see.
That's lovely. And Martin, how about you? How's the holiday village been?
Well, we haven't had anybody famous yet, but then again, when you've got Phil Nuttall, who's my dad, you know, he's great. He does his videos out to consumers, but to us, we have our Zoom calls every week. The support we've had from the Travel Village group is amazing. Like everybody else, they've been there for you, whether it be individually, if you wanted to call them, but Paula, who runs the Holiday Village side, she calls everybody every week, and every day she makes sure she puts some time aside to actually be there if you want to call. So as well as giving you that personal touch, I'm available. And I think that's really important, like yourself, Richard, is being there, whether it be for a moan, or whether it be for advice, or whether it be for marketing advice. And we have our Facebook groups, and as you say, they're active as ever with advice and rants and raves and things like that. So we're a smaller company than probably a lot out there. But we are a family company, been there for 61 years. And I think it's great to have that support. And I think everybody out there is supporting their agents and home workers the best they can in these times. Because let's be honest, we're not all firing on all cylinders, but we're doing our best. And, you know, they're out there helping everybody. And let's be honest, things change. And you don't know where your head is some days, you know, policies, procedures, refunds, you know, you're just like, woo.
Okay, all right. I think that's all we've got time for. I've just noticed the time, but thank you so much. It was really great to talk to you all today and to hear how you've all been getting along. We've had some brilliant comments as well, so thank you so much to everyone who's commented on our Facebook page. And yes, take care and thanks for your time.
See you soon.
Bye everyone. See you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.